Welcome to the weekly share of the Zera Shimshon, Zecher Tzadik V'Kodesh L'Vracha. This week is two Parshas, Vayakhel and Pikudei, and I'm going to just take a small piece from Vayakhel. It's one of the longer Parshas of the world, but in this week's Parsha, it's Chav Daled Adar, and it's Tafshin Pei Gimel still, and we're soon coming up to a new year in the months Nisan. So Mitzvah Hashem Shabbos V'Rochim also. So anyway, this is an interesting piece because I like to pick pieces that you wouldn't hear in other places, right? And that's what the Zera Shimshon's style is very much. So it says in the pasuk, "Vayomer Moshe el Bnei Yisrael, Ra'u Korah es Hashem b'Shem B'Tzalel ben Uri ben Chor, Lamata Yehuda." Moshe said to the children of Israel, "See, Hashem has proclaimed by name B'Tzalel, the son of Uri, the son of Chor, from the tribe of Yehuda." What was Moshe Rabbeinu telling Bnei Yisrael when he said, "See, Hashem has proclaimed by name B'Tzalel"? What does that mean? Everybody had a name. Why was he different? The Midrash in Shmais Rabbah tells us that when Bnei Yisrael made the golden calf, Chor stood up and gave his life to defend the honor of Hashem. At the time, Hashem said, "I will see to it that all of your descendants will have a good name in the world." As it says, Hashem has proclaimed by name B'Tzalel, the son of Uri, the son of Chor, and the tribe of Yehuda. So it gave a designation. We know that the Mishkan served as a tikkun for the sin of the Chet Ego, the golden calf. As Chazal write, "Let the gold of the Mishkan come to atone for the gold of the Ego." Okay, yet Bnei Israel had still reason to fear. While it was true that the gold of the Mishkan was coming to atone for the golden calf, they still had to deal with the sin of having murdered Chor. To reassure them, the Torah says, "See, Hashem has proclaimed by name B'Tzalel, the son of Uri, the son of Chor." By identifying B'Tzalel as the grandson of Chor, it becomes clear that Chor received his reward for being Moser Nefesh and was no longer a threat to the nation, and would not serve as a prosecutor against them in heaven. And just as Chor died protecting Hashem's honor during the terrible sin of the Chet Ego, his grandson B'Tzalel would increase Hashem's honor in the world with his work in the Mishkan, which would serve as a tikkun and atonement for both the sin of the Chet Ego and for the murder of Chor. Knowing this, Bnei Yisrael were reassured that their work was pleasant in the eyes of Hashem, and that the Shekhinah would rest on their handiwork. Now, I actually found a segula this week. So let's see. It's an interesting segula also. The learning that a person does on Shabbos is worth more than the Torah study he accomplishes during the week. Reb Zev, we call it, a pseudonym from Haifa, had this story to tell. As a member of the workforce, I managed to learn a daily daf through the weekday and not much more. Of course, I knew that I should find time to learn more, but somehow it didn't happen. Then one Shabbos, I was sitting in shul and there was a copy of the Zera Shimshon weekly newsletter lying on the table not far away. I picked it up and began perusing, and first idly and then raised rising interest. The concepts were beautiful, mamish pearls of wisdom in every way. And even the style of writing was clear and pleasant and professional. I enjoyed the Torah of the Zera Shimshon very much and was also drawn to the author's unique promise to all who learn it. So it began. Every week, without fail, I'd make sure to bring home a copy of the newsletter, and then during the course of the Friday night Suda, I'd read through the pearls contained within. This became a firm tradition in our home, Chuk V'Li'avor. A year passed with the Zera Shimshon, by now a standard and much welcomed guest in the home. Unfortunately, people are weak. For some reason, the newsletter was no longer distributed in my shul. And when that happened, instead of going out of my way to obtain a copy somewhere else, I just kind of allowed our precious Friday night Seder with Zera Shimshon to fall by the wayside. Time passed. One day I realized something interesting. I work as an insurance broker with a fairly large firm. My take-home pay is dependent on the number of policies I sell. For many years, I had been bringing home a very decent salary and had been sufficiently satisfied with my parnasa to the point where I stopped giving thought to moving up in the company. You've done well, I said to myself. There's really nowhere else to climb. As I sat there, sunk in a rare moment of introspection, I realized that for the entire year that we as a family had been learning Zera Shimshon every Friday night, I had managed to close increasingly higher policies every month. My boss was surprised by my success. In truth, it really wasn't normal, and he couldn't stop smiling and increasing my paycheck. During that entire year, I'd enter the office in the morning, and from the second I sat down on my desk, I didn't have a moment to breathe from the sheer volume of work that was coming my way. I recalled the meetings and the phone calls and contacts, and I realized how successful I'd been throughout the year, abnormally successful. But that wasn't the end of my realization, because I also understood from the moment that I ceased learning the Zera Shimshon, business reverted to the way that it had been before. Suddenly I was back to normal, with a regular, modest paycheck and normal, moderate successes. At that moment, I understood that the zchus of learning the Zera Shimshon had been standing at my side the entire year, assisting me with my parnasa in a very real way. It goes without saying that I was immediately resolved to begin learning Zera Shimshon every Friday night, come what may, not because of the money, but because the Zera Shimshon had been such a clear and obvious source of blessing in our lives, a source of blessing that I was no longer willing to live without. Sure, money is important, but learning the Zera Shimshon is so much more than money. It's like a guardian angel keeping watch over a person. And that being the case, I didn't really see how I could willingly choose to forego such a wonderful zchus. May everybody have a wonderful Shabbos, and may it be Shabbos V'vorchim, everybody to get much parnasa and refuas and shidduchim and all the good zachem. It's a sham. Shir b'saras taivas. Have a great Shabbos.